Good. We good? Good. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Charlie, and I've got a confession to make. I am a serious hoarder. Like, a real big-time hoarder. Not with stuff and things, but with leftovers. Prepare yourself. I'm going to show you my refrigerator. Look at all these leftovers. I'm telling you, I am a serious leftover hoarder. I just always want a new flavor. I have a hard time eating the same thing and enjoying the same flavors for more than one meal. So this is what happens. I've got a bunch of baked chicken, brown rice, but that's normal, right? That's nothing too crazy or out of the normal. This is some tom kha kai that I made the other day. I've got one sausage here. What is this? Confit garlic. So, on today's episode, we're gonna take some of these leftovers and make an impromptu jambalaya. Viewers be warned, this is not traditional. It's not authentic jambalaya, but it's what I have to work with. So, let me get these ingredients out. We'll get the cook line prepped. Let's go. All right, guys. Here is our refrigerator raid. Mostly leftovers. Let's go through our ingredients. Has some leftover carrots here. I found a bell pepper in the vegetable drawer. A jalapeno. I'm pretty sure this came from our garden. 2 celery stalks. A couple green onions. A red onion. You guys saw our confit garlic. Some leftover baked chicken drums. Brown rice. I'm pretty sure this is a chicken and apple sausage. And some leftover ground beef that looks like it needs to be used pretty soon. Thankfully, we're cooking today. We're gonna get started by processing the chicken first. Let's put on a pair of gloves because I'm gonna start by separating this meat from the bone. And the skin, I'm gonna throw into this pot right here, along with the bones, because we're gonna make a quick chicken stock. And you don't have to worry about shredding this too thin because we're gonna continue to stir it as our jambalaya cooks, and that'll break down the meat as well. Success. Our chicken meat right here, bones and skin here. Let's take this over to the sink, fill this up with water while we prepare our vegetables. Okay, now this chicken was already marinated and cooked. We're gonna help the stock by adding a little bit of sea salt. Also gonna add some black pepper. And then just for fun, I'm gonna throw in an olive. So I just took a meat tenderizer and crushed this ginger. And then we're gonna let that simmer for about 20 minutes. While we've got our chicken stock going, we're gonna prepare our Cajun Trinity. So what's a Trinity? It's essentially celery, onion, and bell pepper. We're not gonna do anything too fancy, just a rough chop of our celery, a rough chop of our bell pepper, and finally, we're only going to use half this onion. That's it. That's our Trinity. Now to add to those flavors, I'm going to throw in a couple carrots. Now let's take this chicken sausage. We're gonna dice this up as well. I'm gonna do this one out of bias. And this sausage is one of those types that already come fully cooked, but they just need to be reheated, so I'm not too concerned about contaminating this cutting board. Grab our veggies. Just put that aside for now. All right, that's looking good. So now, we've got a preheated frying pan here, and I've got about 3 pounds of ground beef. I'm just going to use half of that. Take a wooden spoon, just flatten this out. Now we're going to season with sea salt, paprika, cayenne pepper, and all of this is to your own taste. Now I've got a tiny bit of cumin left, and that gets the rest of the cumin. Now we're not going to touch it. we're gonna allow this to hard sear on one side and let that main artifact take place to really develop a crust on the bottom side of our ground beef. And once that starts to get nice and crispy and caramelized, we'll give it a flip and let it do the same to the opposite side. That's what you're waiting for right there. Now we're gonna flip. Don't worry about keeping it in one piece. We're gonna allow the same thing to happen to the opposite side. Ground beef is nearly fully cooked. This is ready to come out. We're going to transfer that into the bowl. Now this is going to go aside. Now we want to get our pan really hot again. I don't care who you are, you're not cooking Cajun unless you start with a good roux. Now what's a roux? Most of you guys know what a roux is. But for those of you that don't, it's essentially some cooking oil. And then I've got some unbleached all-purpose flour here. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of that. And that's the base of our roux. There's a couple different levels of roux. Right now, we're looking at a blonde roux, which is great for bechamels, cheese sauces, and this is what you really want to use as your base for like a mac and cheese sauce. But the roux that we're making for our jambalaya is a nice dark roux. And the important thing here is I'm working with a very high heat, and I'm continuing to stir, keeping an eye on our roux. Once our roux reaches a chocolate color, that's when it's ready. And this roux is gonna do a couple things. First, it's gonna intensify the depth of flavor of our jambalaya, but also it's gonna thicken our jambalaya as well. And if you've made a roux before, we're at that stage where it starts to smell like fried peanuts, and we're at a good pace. When you do a high heat roux like this, you really don't want to leave. You don't want to leave the stove. You don't want to turn around for a second because it can burn on you. And once you burn your roux, you got to toss it out. Start all over. Within seconds, we went from a nice light blonde roux to a medium brown. And I think I need a little bit more oil. Maybe 2 tablespoons more. Even though this roux is a French technique, I actually start my caldereta in Filipino cooking with a nice dark roux. Give it a try one time. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It'll just add that extra depth of flavor and umami that most people can't put a finger on. So now we're a dark caramel. We're gonna take it one more shade darker. And then we're ready to toss in our Trinity. Very nice, we're there. So now we drop in our vegetables. And I'm turning down my heat to about a medium low. So while our vegetables are going, let's take a look at our quick cheater chicken stock. Not quite boiling yet, but we're nearly there. Because this chicken was marinated and most of the marinade was on the skin, it's still gonna pick up a ton of flavor. Now once those onions start to get fragrant and a little bit translucent, now's the time you want to add your garlic. I'm using confit garlic. You can use raw garlic. You can use garlic paste. Do not use garlic powder. It's not the same. Get some fresh garlic. I didn't chop this confit garlic because it's like garlic butter. It's so soft it'll just mash itself into the rice once we get that added to our jambalaya. That's smelling incredible. Now I'm gonna add our sausage. Give that a chance to release its flavors, all of its oils, smokiness right into this base. Fold that in. We're gonna reintroduce our ground beef. Definitely don't want to leave out any of these flavors that you worked so hard to get. Make sure you cook with all of it. Our chicken stock is ready. So over in the sink, I just prepared this little strainer. I'm just gonna strain off this quick stock. Now I'm just gonna ladle about 2 cups of this stock into our jambalaya here. Stock is gonna deepen the flavor as well as fully cook our roux. Even though we did cook it in the oil earlier, it still needs a little bit of time to continue to break down and cook the flour. I'm gonna add maybe a half cup more. Getting close to capacity here on our frying pan. And now we add our chicken. Can I fit all of it? I'm not gonna risk it. I have a little bit left over, but this is plenty of chicken. Now we just want to submerge our chicken into the sauce. Carefully, carefully. Now I'm gonna turn this heat down to a low simmer. Now we're gonna allow this to continue to cook and simmer at that low heat so it kind of braises our chicken. But this will allow the flavors of our jambalaya to penetrate every layer of every bite. Our 45 minutes of cooking are up, and as you can see, most of our chicken stock has evaporated and it just concentrated into this beautiful caramel colored velvety frying pan full of meat. So at this point, we come in here and add our rice, but our pan ran out of real estate, so instead of adding our rice into that, I'm gonna transfer the jambalaya into this bowl that had the cooked ground beef in it earlier. So I wanna make this a one-pot dish. Less to clean up, the better. A little bit of leftover cooking juice is fine. And now we're gonna drop in a portion of rice, or maybe 2, because let's be real, I'm gonna go in for seconds. We're just gonna wait for that to heat up a little bit before we spoon in some of our jambalaya mix. But before we do that, remember the jalapeno from earlier? I'm gonna add it to our rice. And then our soy sauce. No, hot sauce. Our hot sauce goes into the rice right now. And this is something I do. Oh, come on. This is something that I added to my jambalaya recipe. It's not traditional or anything. I just like that vinegar punch from the hot sauce in my jambalaya. Our rice is nearly at temp. Now we're gonna take some of this jambalaya and dump it into the rice. And I like to keep my jambalaya at about a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts rice, 1 part meat and vegetable. You can go 1-to-1. You can go crazy and go 1-to-2. Or you can omit the rice altogether. Hold that in. Whoa, hey, yo, hey, baby. You waiting for jambalaya too? Hi. No, I tickle you instead. So, this is fully cooked and it's ready to go. I just want to make sure the rice is fully heated through. Turn that to low while that's going. Let's move over here to the cook line. Now we're gonna prep some green onions for garnish. Just gonna do a rough bias chop. That's good. Let's get ourselves a bowl. All right, now let's plate some jambalaya. Man, this smells so incredible. I hope you guys are cooking the stuff that I'm putting up on the channel. Because I don't want to make it seem like everything I cook smells incredible, but you know, why would I share the recipe if it didn't smell really good and taste really good? Most important part. Cool, there we go. Some green onion on top. I'm gonna put a lot of green onion because I like that fresh onion bite. And just because, I'm gonna add some more hot sauce. And that is ready. Yo. Check that out. This looks way better than microwaved baked chicken. Way better than just your standard fried rice. It took a little bit more effort, but that, I'm telling you, the smell, oh God, I want to bite into it. It's gonna be so worth it. Like I said at the beginning, it's not traditional, it's not authentic, but the techniques that we use to create this leftovers, refrigerator raid, jambalaya, could pass for the real thing. That's so good. We use chicken and apple sausage. It added a hint of sweetness, and then the vinegar from the soy sauce pulls it right back in with that pungent bite. And you got spice. The cumin and the hard sear on the ground beef really makes it feel like you're eating these little meatballs. And it's still, even though we simmered it for 45 minutes, it's really kept its integrity. Very meaty. It doesn't turn into mush. So incredible. Wife and baby, come here. I always feel bad when I'm cooking these dishes, and then Kissa has to wait to eat until after I'm filming, so I'm gonna have her eat with me. Mommy's gonna get a bite first, okay? Chicken, beef, rice. Ooh.
Oh, he's excited.
A little bit hot.
Bite first if you want.
This big bite for Micah? No way. Yes, baby. I got you, relax. At this stage of Micah's development, he's really grabby and kind of demanding. Ready? No touch, okay? Is it good? A little bit spicy. Oh, he doesn't care. He wants more. Wait, can I get a bite first? I'm gonna get a bite first. Getting more of that chicken, more of the sausage. You want all of it in one bite. Still piping hot. I burned my mouth a little bit earlier, to be completely honest with you. My preferred way of working with leftovers. We're gonna have lunch. I want to thank you guys for finding your way to the channel. Thank you for watching my video, making it all the way to the end. If you haven't already done so, you can follow me on Instagram. I post a bunch of food stuff, some family stuff, and I tell you what kind of ingredients you need for the upcoming video. That way you can kind of cook along with me, or if you decide to cook it that weekend, you're already set. If you haven't already done so, if you like this content, hit like, hook your brother up with a subscribe. Hook me up with a subscription if you want more of this content. Hit the notification bell. You get one every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Lets you know that there's new content coming on the channel all the time. As always, I love you guys. Thank you for cooking with me and eating with me. See you at the next video. Bye bye. Yeah? You want some more? Is the spice bothering you? It's okay, right? Not too spicy. Alright, let's eat.